Prophet said, raise your children with three qualities. Prophet said, raise your children with three qualities. Love of your Prophet, love of his family, and reading the Quran.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen amma ba'd fa'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim bismillahir rahmanir rahim. As-salatu wa salamu alayka ya Rasulallah, as-salatu wa salamu alayka ya Habiballah, as-salatu wa salamu alayka ya Nabiyallah wa ala alika wa sahabika ya Noorallah. The beloved and blessed Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam has stated, anyone who recites durood upon me one time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends 10 mercies upon him. Sallu alal Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Dear viewers of Madani Channel, welcome to the silsila Childhood Matters. An English saying goes, a man is known by the company he keeps. Our friends are actually our identity. If we have good friends, it means that we have good image in the society. If we are with bad friends, it creates negative image of us in society. Today we are going to discuss about the friends and friend circle, and we have, like always, Dr. Zirak Saab with us, who is a psychiatrist by profession. Well, Dr. Saab, it is said that man is a social animal. So my question is, what do you say? What is the importance of social life?
Now, obviously, social life plays an extremely important role in our society, and it has done so from the beginning of obviously humans on this earth, and it will continue to play this role until the end of this world as well. Now, social needs are so important that they are amongst our most basic needs. For example, hunger is our basic need. If it is not fulfilled, then it will obviously, we will die. Similarly, thirst is our need, because if we don't drink water, then we could get dehydrated and die. And similarly, social needs are also amongst the basic needs. If these are not fulfilled, then physically we may be in existence, but mentally we will not be functioning at all. And I think, obviously in this day and age, if we look at it from other than the early years, when we are simply dependent upon our mother and one or two other individuals in our life. But as soon as we actually are 3 or 4 years of age, we start going to school, then we are dependent upon others in terms of having a good time at school. And social life is so important that many of those individuals who, if they begin to have problem in social life early years, 4, 5, 6, then this can actually have long-term consequences on their social functioning to come in the future. And once it is only that when you actually adjust in a balanced way with other people and in the social life and the social circle, only then you can actually put into use your intellect. Individuals who are actually intelligent, but if they do not have a balanced social life or they cannot interact with others, they will not be able to take good benefit from this intelligence. So in many aspects, if I were to actually look at it from a mental health point of view, from the background of a psychiatry and so forth, then when we actually assess an individual for any mental health problem, then a major aspect of our history taking or asking them questions involves about their childhood, how their education was in primary school, how was their education in the secondary school. And when we talk about the primary and the secondary school, we are not just talking about academic achievement, but also in terms of their interaction with others. That did they have a good amount of friends? How close were they with their friends, and whether there were any problems in this, that were they able to make friends or not. And when you have friends, you are actually protected from a number of different harms. So for example, children, if they don't make good friends, then other children can actually bully them, which can then lead to a lot of obviously emotional abuse and so forth. So as you actually turn to around 6, 7 or 8 years of age, when your personality begins to develop, then your personality development is heavily dependent upon your relationship, not just with your mother and the father and the brother and the sister, but also individuals around you, especially in the school, in your neighborhood and so forth. And as you obviously turn into your teenage years and so forth, once again social circle is very important to give you an understanding of the world around you, to give you, it helps you to develop your self-confidence, it helps you to develop your leadership skills, it helps you to develop further wisdom. And as you obviously step into married life and so forth, and again social circle, especially in Eastern cultures matters a lot. And when you have to survive in a society, when things are tough, when the life throws lots of problems and issues at you, again your social life, social circle, it is basically is needed to support you. And once you obviously go through the retirement phase, and you obviously your children are now busy, and then it depends on your rest of the social network and so forth. And all in all, having a good social function, social life, social circle, it actually is good from physical health point of view, and it actually nurtures and nourishes your mental health as well. And only with a good and balanced social life you will be able to function to the best of your abilities.
There is another question. You have given the importance of friends, but nowadays everyone is confined to his own room and everyone is busy in his own cell phone. So now my question is that as we have a lot of friends in virtual space, meaning on internet, and we are busy in chatting with them like on different social media forums. So my question is, do you think that they can substitute the friends which used to be in the real life?
Clearly, social media or the internet or all these other platforms where you actually end up making friends, at the moment plays a very big role in our society. And it is, one can say that within the confines of your own home, you can actually be friends with someone in a completely different culture, in another country, and so on and so forth, and you can share ideas and interests and so forth and broaden your horizons. Secondly, the parents actually may feel that this is very good, that their children are in front of them and within the confinements of their own home, and they are able to make friends, and they are safe and they are in front of their own eyes. However, if we look at it from a psychological point of view or from a real life point of view, then there are a number of different problems with this, having friends on the internet or social life. Now clearly, first of all, the parents are not able to keep any eye or have an understanding of what sort of relationship their child is having with this other individual. Secondly, who is this person? Who is your friend? Do you actually know them? Or are they hiding their identity from you? Do you actually know how old they are? Or they are telling a lie? And many times what happens is that older individuals, they take advantage of these younger individuals through this social media platforms and internet and so forth. And there are countless stories where these individuals have taken advantage of youngsters, and many times children become victims of this, and children can be groomed into all sorts of problems and so forth, and this can also lead to cyberbullying and so forth. Now few more things. I'm basically trying to mention the harmful effects of these social media and other sort of platforms, so that people are aware. Now, if we look at it from a social aspect or mental health point of view, or your interaction. Now, to actually have a good interaction, you actually need to basically sit with the other individual, making appropriate eye contact, then obviously using the right tone of words and so forth. Then you can understand the emotions of the other individual. But basically, mostly what happens on these social media and so forth, that you are mostly typing things up, sending a message and so forth. Yes, there may be some video chatting or phone calling and so forth, which can actually help with these things. But ultimately, there is no real substitute of having a friend in real life. And let's say that when there is a problem, for example, there's been a bereavement, or for example, you've had an accident, and you may have fractured your arm or leg. Do you think that this friend's going to come all the way from the other country to come and visit you? So at these times, you actually need your friends in front of your own eyes. Now imagine that someone having all his friends based on the social media in different countries and so forth, and a loved one dies in their family, and probably he didn't have many other family members, and no one's there to comfort him. From a psychological point of view, he will not be able to have a normal grieving process, because to grieve, you actually need to share your feelings with someone in physical, in front of you. You may want to cry, and they are offering you a shoulder to cry upon, and that's a very big part that plays in grieving process. So someone whose friends are only virtual or through social media, or most of their friends are through social media but not in real life, they will be at lots of different disadvantages in the future life.
Dr. Saab, there is another confusion in this age and time. Children, because of many reasons, they are rushing towards choosing new friends. But parents, they don't want them to go to people they don't know. Now there is a continuous struggle. Children, they want to choose their friends on their own, and parents, they want to have their own share in the selection of the friends. So now this question got two aspects. So I request you to answer both these aspects.
Should children choose their own friends, or should parents actually choose the friends for them?
Ji.
Now, let's look at or try to understand where do the children actually pick their friends from. So for example, home is one place where they will actually begin to pick friends. So anyone who visits them at home, other younger children or the families that visit them. So for example, parents, friends or families who they visit and they've got children. So these children, when they come at home, so your children are likely to pick friends from this group. The second and very important place where the children actually pick their friends up is from the school.
ठीक.
Or in this case, we can also say madrasa. So these two places, majority of the children's friends are from these two places, school or madrasa. And the third one is the playground. And I think mostly your friends, if I were to actually look at list of my friends, some of them are actually from my family or friends of my parents, because I've had contact with them from early childhood, or they are from my school, or they are from my madrasa, or they are from my playground, playfield. Now later on, obviously, when you go to other educational institutes, then you obviously pick your friends from there as well. If we look at these 3 or 4 places, parents have no control whatsoever who their child picks as a friend from the school or madrasa or playground.
ठीक.
One place where they may have or exert some role is in terms of their home environment. So first and foremost, the parents need to be very careful that who they bring into their own home, because these children will actually become friends of their children. And who do they take their own child to whoever's home? Because when their child goes to the other family members or other friends' homes, then they are likely to become friends of their obviously children. So parents first of all need to actually have this understanding that they have this control, or they can exert this control in terms of who the friends are going to be for their children. So be very wise in terms of who comes into your home and where you take your child to. Now, regarding the educational institutes and the play field, although the parents have very little control over who the child is going to take friends, however, there is even bigger role that the parents need to play. They need to know who their child is friends to or friends with, and these other children, what are their qualities, what are their characteristics. And the only way to know this is by parents having a good relationship and of trust with their own child, that when they talk to their child about their friends, the child is open and honest with the parents about who their friends are, what do they do, what do they say, what activities they do. And there are many sort of like signs per se, where parents, if they're careful, they can pick up on problems with these other children who are the friends of your child. For example, your child uses an inappropriate word at home. Let's say it's a swear word. Now, the bells should be ringing. If you don't use that word in your own home, if your family members don't use that word in their home, then where has this child learned this word from? Now you need to actually sit with the child, not in an interrogative way, not like a police officer or anything. You basically sit with your child in a very friendly way and say, beta, you used this word the other day. I'm quite interested, or I would like to know, where did you actually learn this word from? And this is not a threatening way. You are trying to probe. Now, the child will say, oh, Baba or Daddy or Mummy, so and so friend of mine use this word. Now, stop there and next day ask more about that particular friend. Now, try to gather the information. Don't just there and then say, oh, you can't be friends with that child and so forth. You must stop it. Try to gather more information. Once you have more evidence, then you can gently and slowly, if you find other evidence that this child, their family, or they may be using these swear words, or this child has those or negative characteristics which I don't want my child to absorb from this friend, and then take this information, use your wisdom, and then teach your child how they should not associate with that individual. So you will see that although parents don't have a major role in terms of who their child chooses a friend as, however, they have a greater role to play in terms of understanding who these friends are, what their personality is like, and then advise their child that they can only advise. If you try to force things on your children, then this will actually not work out. And if you advise and you have a good relationship of trust, like we mentioned in the previous episode, the authority figure, that if you have got an affectionate relationship, an open and honest relationship where the child can discuss things with you and you are using your authority in the right way, then you will actually know about your child's social life as well, and indirectly you can influence, and you have every right to influence, because if you say they need to learn themselves and they can choose whoever they want to be their friends with and so forth, some parents are like that. And then eventually what happens is that these individuals who have got wrong characteristics, or they use swear words, or they become angry, or they sort of like always demand things and they get things, they are spoiled, then your child will actually become spoiled and so forth. So children will always try to choose their own friends, and I think we as parents have very minimal role in terms of that, but we have a greater control in terms of finding out who these friends are, and also guiding and advising our children who should they associate with and who shouldn't, and why not.
Well, I think it also leads towards another direction, and that is religious point of view. What does religion say about making friends with someone? Well, दोस्त वो है जो तुझे खुदा याद दिलाए. The real friend is the friend who reminds you of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then there is a hadith which says that beware when you are making a friend, because you are on the religion of your friend. For example, if your friend is having corrupt beliefs, so there are high chances that you may also go towards those beliefs. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us from this. Sufiya Kiram Rahmatullahi Ta'ala, they have given the proper guidelines of making the friends. For example, Maulana Room Rahmatullahi Ta'ala says, Sobate Sale Tura Sale Kunad, Sobate Tale Tura Tale Kunad. If you are friend of a pious person, you are also going to become a pious person. And if you are friend of a wicked person, then you are also going to end up becoming a wicked person. Allahu Akbar. So it all shows how much important our friends are. And really, if one wants to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I would say he needs to get closer to someone who is friend of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you want to make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala your friend, you need to take someone who is friend of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as your friend. And then in this way you will be able to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Well, Dr. Sahab, after speaking in the light of religion, Islamic point of view, I want you to give us more insight from social perspective. What are the qualities of a good friend?
Obviously, you gave a very beautiful, brief, but very sort of like extensive glimpse of the guidelines given by the religion, Islamic, beautiful teachings of Islam on who should be your friend and so forth. If we look at from social aspects point of view, that what good qualities there should be in your friends. First of all, I think now in this we are quite restricted by age limit. Okay, so I will try to give advice that will be applicable to most age groups, but mainly we are talking a little bit about 10, 11, 12 years of age and so forth. Now, good qualities of a friend should be that they should not be getting angry unnecessarily. Now, if your friend is getting angry and they are swearing at little things and they get out of control and they are unable to control their emotions, then you will learn this thing as well. And social point of view, this is not something that is good. Then people, when you actually associate with other people who are not your friends, then you will actually communicate with them in the same aggressive manner. And then other people will not like you. When you grow up, it will become a problem for everyone. The second good quality that the friends should have is they should be hardworking. So, they hardworking in terms of obtaining the knowledge, whether it is religious knowledge or academic achievements. Because someone who is lazy and someone who doesn't actually work hard, then if he is your friend, then you will acquire those characteristics. So this other important characteristic is hardworking, and I think you can pick up on that. Parents can definitely pick up on that from a very early age. The third good quality is about timekeeping. A child who, or your friend who is good at making effective use of time, that is very, very important skill. And clearly a child will only be a good timekeeper or make effective use of time if his own parents have got that characteristic. So make sure that whoever is your friend, they are not late when it comes to attending the school, they're not late when it comes to attending the madrasa or masjid, they're punctual in offering their namaz on time and so forth. And obviously there are a number of other ways where you can establish in terms of submitting homework at school, which means that if they are doing it at the right time, they are making effective use of time. As we obviously step in teenage years, this is a very delicate and important time of our life. And you will agree with me that if I look at most of my friends, they are the ones that I made around that time period. From primary school or early years, some of these friends, obviously, they then disappear from the picture. But mostly that you actually meet at high school or university is what you keep with you, most of them, for the rest of the life. And at that time, it is extremely important that your friends do not smoke. Okay, smoking is something that even as a doctor, I would say definite no. And even being sort of expert in the field of psychiatry, I will say no. You may say, what is the harm in smoking? Or someone who's watching, what is the harm in smoking? You chill out, it relaxes you. This is very common in this day and age. How can you actually have good time with your friends if you're not smoking? Now, smoking is the first step that actually leads you to illicit drugs. Now, if someone doesn't smoke, I've not seen any individual at the moment who didn't smoke and then started drugs. You have to smoke initially because most of the drugs are actually smoked. And then you go on to obviously harder drugs and so forth. Now, if let's say, for argument's sake, that you only stuck to smoking and never took drugs, then what are the medical harms of smoking? There are lots of chemicals in the cigarette smoke, in tobacco, that cause cancer.
Allah.
Now, also, you spend a lot of money. And people who smoke, they suffer from lung cancer, they suffer from throat cancer, they suffer from all other forms of cancers as well. And they don't actually realize it until, they're diagnosed with this. And how many people I know that have died from lung cancer and they were smokers. So smoking is a bad habit which if any one of your friend actually has it, then the chances are you will also end up smoking. And smoking is something, so we're talking about smoking cigarettes, that will lead you into all sorts of different problems. Once drugs come into your life, then that's it. Your social life is destroyed, your work life is destroyed, your family life is destroyed, and it can have all sorts of negative consequences. So something that as a friend you need to look into is that your friend does not smoke. And also, very importantly, your friends should have good manners, good way of talking, and they should be respectful to everyone, whether it is younger than them or older than them, as we discussed in the previous episode, that the respect is very important. And I would also like to say that from even social point of view, your friends should actually be punctual in terms of teachings of Islam. They should be practically acting upon the teachings of Islam as well.
MashaAllah, Dr. Saab have described the important features which a friend must have. And now it is end of the silsila. Inshallah, see you in the next silsila. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to become the real practicing Muslims. Ameen bijahin nabil ameen. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Prophet said, raise your children with three qualities. Prophet said, raise your children with three qualities. Love of your Prophet, love of his family, and reading the Quran.